Hello everyone, welcome to day 11 of the 28-day ketogenic weight loss challenge. And today we're going to be talking about how a diet high in sugar and grains drives disease. If you haven't joined the 28-day challenge already, go to mysugarfreejourney.com/28day, 28day, and we'd love to have you over there. So we spent a few days looking at exactly how a diet high in sugars and grains causes weight gain by raising insulin levels, which cause the body to go into fat storage mode, and you get fatter. But that's not the whole story. These same chronically high levels of insulin also drive levels of inflammation, which in turn drive most metabolic diseases. So we're going to spend the next few weeks looking at individual diseases, but for now we're just going to take a bird's eye view of the process. Your body has been finely tuned by evolution for one purpose: to keep you physically fit and healthy enough to pass your genetic code on to the next generation. This is the main reason our bodies seem to deteriorate so rapidly once we pass those childbearing years. We just don't have an evolutionary reason for continued optimum health. Now, add this to the fact that the human race has consumed primarily animal products for most of its existence. And for instance, if you were able to condense all of human history into a year, we would only have developed agriculture yesterday. This means that humans are excellent at processing fat and protein, but have a much more difficult time dealing with the grains and sugars because those were not a substantial part of our diet for most of the time that we've been around. In fact, the only way most of our ancestors got any fructose in our diet was from fruits, which only appeared at the end of the growing season just before winter. Our bodies didn't really deal with fructose at all. It just shunted it off to fat cells to be stored for the coming winter. So fructose has been evolutionarily designed to make us fat, which is fine if we only eat fruit for 1 month a year, but before a long period of famine. But now fructose is in our diet every day, sugars are in our diet every day, and we never have a time of famine, a time of lower energy or lower food availability to do something with all the fat that we have stored around our midsection. So our bodies develop the insulin response to deal with the high blood sugar levels that came from eating the processed grains we just started developing. Insulin does a great job of lowering blood sugar levels, but at a cost to our overall health. It is comparable to, say, a slow-acting poison that does its job in the moment, but at the cost of your health over a few decades' time. So here's a look at a few of the diseases that are caused by chronically high levels of insulin and the inflammation it causes. And we're going to look at these more in depth over the next coming days. So first of all, type 2 diabetes. This is probably the most common or the most obvious because a pancreas that is constantly secreting insulin all day, every day, will eventually wear out as the cells in the body become more and more insulin resistant. The pancreas has to secrete more and more insulin to keep up until finally it fails and you become an insulin-dependent diabetic. You can cure type 2 diabetes just by changing your diet, by eating a diet that does not require as much insulin to process. So that's a ketogenic diet, a diet very, very low in carbohydrates. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. We now know that PCOS is nothing more than insulin resistance in the ovaries. If you reduce your insulin, the risk of PCOS drops dramatically, and there have been many cases of people curing their PCOS by switching over to a high-fat diet, high-fat, low-carb diet. Increased VLDL. So we used to think of all LDL cholesterol as the, quote, bad cholesterol, but we now know that LDL occurs in several different sizes, and it's the VLDL particles, the very low-density lipoproteins, the incredibly small ball-bearing-like particles of LDL cholesterol that does the damage that we associate with bad cholesterol. And what causes VLDL? It's not dietary fat, as we once thought, but it's carbohydrates. High blood pressure. Insulin drives increased sodium retention and blood volume, which drives hypertension. If you've got high blood pressure, like I have high blood pressure, one of the best things that you can do is to stop eating carbohydrates and sugar. Coronary disease. Insulin damages the walls of the main arteries feeding your heart. In fact, the plaque buildup that happens in your arteries of people with advanced heart disease isn't caused by the cholesterol. It's caused by insulin damaging the walls of your arteries, at which point the body tries to cover the damage with a layer of cholesterol, just like the body would scab over a cut on the outside of your body. Reduce your insulin, and you will reduce the damage to the vessels, which will cause less buildup, which will reverse your heart disease. Alzheimer's. Many people now call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because it has the same root cause as type 2 diabetes, namely high blood sugar, high insulin levels. In fact, if you'd like to learn more about the effect of carbohydrates on the brain, I cannot recommend enough Dr. Perlmutter's book, Grain Brain. Fantastic book that goes over the effects of carbohydrates on the brain. Macular degeneration, so increased blood sugar and insulin can cause damage to your eyesight over time. In fact, that's pretty much all cataracts is sugar buildup over your eyes. And there are more. We're going to go over a lot of these things more in detail over the next couple weeks or so. But just know that the root of a lot of the long-term diseases that we face today as a civilization, the root of all of them, or the root of a large majority of them, comes from the foods that we're eating that cause insulin spikes. So if you can just reduce the amount of insulin that you're having your body produce every day, you can reverse, cure, or lower your risk of a lot of these diseases. And so as we talk about diseases moving forward, I need to make sure that I tell you that I am not a doctor. Nothing that I say should be taken as any medical advice, but you should do your own research on these diseases and a ketogenic diet if you don't believe what I'm saying, because it is a powerful tool to knock these diseases out of your life. All right, appreciate it, guys. We'll be back tomorrow with more information. Remember, go to mysugarfreejourney.com/28day, 28day, to join the Facebook group where you can join the community of other like-minded people who are losing weight and regaining their health by switching over to ketogenic diet. Appreciate you guys watching. We will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.